Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are previewing Gameweek 14. In tonight's show we'll be discussing each upcoming Gameweek fixture, predicting potential key players, differentials and clean sheets. We'll also talk captaincy, reveal our teams, planned transfers, the Cougar Cup picks, as well as answering some of your questions. We've had quite a few this week, Keek, so we're looking forward to getting stuck into them a little bit later.
Yep.
Before we get into the show, I just want to take a moment to say if you haven't subscribed to us on the platform you're currently watching or listening to us on, then you should do that right now. As you know, we're previewing every game week this season. We've got some short turnaround times come up in December, but Kieran and I are going to be there with you all the way. Aren't we, Kieran?
Yep.
Exactly. Good. All right. We're very active on Twitter also. You should find us at, you should find us at FPL Cougars. That's all one word. Right. Let's get into the show. Let's talk about teams. Game week 13 scores on the screens right now, Kieran. Let's hear about your points, please.
Pretty average week. 59 points. Better than the overall average, but still got red arrow. 169k down to 190k. So small, just about 20k-ish red arrow. Nothing to be too worried about there. Just an average week. All my backline pretty much blanked apart from Sionku, which is nice.
Yeah.
Mane and De Bruyne did well. De Bruyne, after many sold him, just to get like Son and stuff in, but obviously Son did well. But yeah, De Bruyne getting a return felt quite sweet after many sold.
Yeah.
Obviously Mount rotation hitting, that's not good
Yeah,
for
we'll
me.
talk about that more a bit later, I think.
And then Aguero, hit the post, missed another good chance. Yeah, another blank. Abraham blank, and then Vardy, just my main man, captain again. I was in between Mane and Vardy for captain all week. Couldn't really decide. Just decided to go with the crowd. I thought I'd made a big mistake while Mane got the early goal and Vardy was blanking. But yeah, he come up trumps in the end. So happy.
And it all swung so quickly in that game, didn't it? With the penalty sort of fiasco and retake.
Yeah.
And points were just jingle jangling all over the place. And
indeed,
you and I ended up coming out on the right side of it because I went Vardy as well.
I thought I might have had a Ryan penalty save.
Oh yeah. It wouldn't have been so bad for you. That would have been quite good. Yeah, I did fairly similarly. So I had 66 points up to 387k, I think, which is about 120k rise. So I wasn't too bad. You and I have had fairly similar choices this week. Vardy captain, both had Abraham, Mane, and De Bruyne. Mount, like we say, on the bench. My transfer this week was to take out Rico, and I brought in Soyuncu, and that worked out well, so gained 6 points there. I've been thinking about bringing in Danny Ings as well for the majority of last week and the last couple of weeks, and he scored again, so yeah, a little bit bitter about that, but I think you can't sniff at like the points you miss out on. You've got to be happy with the players you pick in the end. All right, should we look at the manager of the week? And who did well there?
Yes, let's see what I got here. Okay, so it was Blue Lions FC, Sachin Shrestha, I think. 88 points, no trips played, two transfers with a -4, a game week rank of 10k, overall rank of 115k, up from 294k, and 271st in the Cup League. And he had Pope with you, that you had with the 9 points. Nice. Sionku 6, Mings 6, and then Mane, KDB, Son with all nice returns. Jimenez, Vardy, and I think he had Abraham as well, the Vag, top 3. And then, Cantwell on his bench of 10 as well, which sad face, but yeah, he got enough points anyway, so 88 points, pretty well played.
Yeah, first sub as well for Cantwell. It could have been even so much sweeter.
Yeah, nearly the 100 club if you got him on.
Yeah, no. If anyone who's listening or watching hasn't joined the FPL Cougars mini league yet, we do the manager of the week, obviously every week, and the code to join is DJUUZ6. It's in the video, so if you want to see that again, head over to YouTube and check that out. I think top of the table there hasn't been any movement, Keek, at the tippy top.
Well, there has. I'm pretty sure that.
I think Bahia is first still.
Oh, is he still? Okay,
yeah, I think he's still on 80 points. I think Mike had overtaken him in first place, but he's on. This is Bahia is on 844 points overall, so he's having a great season. I don't actually know what his overall rank is.
I've got it down here, 516 overall.
Okay, well, that's really tasty. Inside the top 1k, that's really, really good.
Very good.
Yeah, nice. All right, that's them. And then Cougar Cup picks Kieran because it was the end of November. No, it wasn't the end of November. We still got one more game week.
Do we? Oh yeah, we do. Yeah,
because it starts on. Oh no, we don't. It starts on Oh, it does start on the 30th. Yeah, so we're counting it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're counting
Okay.
it. Sorry, I was trying to think what day it was on Saturday, but yes, the 30th.
Right. Well, I don't really want to talk about this, but yeah. So I got Richarlison, who I picked a post to get him because you wanted him as well, and obviously Richarlison ended up blanking in that Norwich at home fixture, which. Yeah, I didn't really see that coming. 2 points, and then you picked Lacazette. Even though you didn't even bloody do any research. You were just Lacazette, why not? Southampton home, 12 points. So yeah, big swing there. So I've got 35 overall, and you're now on 47 after that.
Oh baby.
And then November-wise, I'm on 12, which I was winning up until this week, and you're now on 21. So. Yeah, sucks to be me.
Still some time. I'm excited about this game. You're right though. Last week I think I let you go first, and you ended up picking who I was going to pick anyway. So
yeah,
I flipped that one big time. I haven't given too much thought, but I'm sure I'll pick out a couple of players as we go through the fixtures this week. Should we start talking about them then? I'm going to bring our teams up on screen now. I think probably people watching will see straight away that you've got Aguero. And I think that's probably a fair place to start. We have had a comment in from FPL. I think it was FPL Maestro who said, no, it wasn't FPL Maestro. It was someone, Kieran, and I'll shout their name in a minute. II Captain, that was it, on Twitter, who said he's bored of the Jesus chat. Kieran, are you bored of the Jesus chat? Is he a viable replacement for Aguero?
Well, I think he probably is, no? I think Aguero's probably out for 3 weeks at least, I guess. Although maybe that's including Champions League and things like that. I don't know, but yeah, I think he's definitely he could be a template buster coming in a sort of against Newcastle or Burnley away. Those are the sort of games that he likes, away games. So yeah, I think it's about 3% ish owned. I mean, why not? A 9.5 with no competition up there. I mean, Pep has said that Sterling can obviously play there, and we've seen that Sterling can play there, but why would you not play Jesus at this point? Just he's fit, he's ready to go, so don't see any reason not to play him.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's been sort of knocking at the door, hasn't he, quite a bit this season. I mean, his points when he has played have been really good. He's averaged 6 points per game when he started this season. I mean, that's only been 4 times. But the potential's been there. I remember that away game against Everton. I thought he played really well, scored that good header in the first half there. I think he's got the potential to fill the gap. I think it does feel like because there's other options like Vardy emerging at that, well, not really emerging now because ownership's so high, but you know what I mean? In that sort of 9 million bracket, that if you don't have him, it would be easy to go straight from Aguero to Vardy. But with over a third of the game owning Vardy, and you want to perhaps take a different route, and you feel like the points have already been lost there, Jesus could be an option for a couple of, or 2 to 3 weeks.
I only think Jesus is really an option for people who have Aguero. You probably already have Vardy. If you have Aguero, then Jesus is or could be a good option. But obviously, at that point, you probably don't have Jimmy because you've probably got Abraham as well. You probably don't have Jimmy. You might be looking at Kane or someone like that. So yeah, I think there's loads of options for Aguero out. I've got at least 5 or 6 like sort of areas that I can look and go to of different combinations of players. But yeah, I like Jesus. I've got him captain in Champions League tonight, so if he does well for me, it might swing me towards him in the Premier League as well. So we'll see. Yeah,
I think in terms of general replacements, I had a sort of overall look at everything, and it seems like just the premiums, especially Kane and Aubameyang, just aren't performing at the moment compared to those cheaper priced players like in the sort of sub 8 million bracket. I mean, Mousse, Abraham. I mean, Mousse might have picked up that hamstring injury, but Abraham, Jimenez, and Rashford are all comfortably outscoring any of the premium options in the last 4 game weeks. And if they're going to continue doing that, it looks like all of those teams have got all of those players for those teams have got fairly good fixtures. I don't see really there's much appeal in the premium bracket at the moment. I mean, Aguero had dipped off as well, hadn't he, before he finally got injured?
Yeah, well, he hadn't returned for. Well, I think he got 1 goal in the sort of time I owned him, so that's.
I think it was like ideal. 1 goal in the last 4 or so, maybe 5 game weeks. But yeah, it's not been good. I mean, it's a similar story with Sterling as well. Like now, people are saying he's a good option now that Aguero's out. But I mean, Aguero should be and typically has been like a good source of assist potential for Sterling. And now, the fact that Sterling's blanked in 4 of the last 6. He had no official shots. I mean, he did score, but no official shots or key passes in that game against Chelsea. And an XG of only 1.1 over the last 4. I picked out some choice names who have had a better XG and Sterling over the last 4. McTominay for 1, considering he didn't play against Sheffield United, is pretty worrying. And Almiron, and that was before Almiron played against Villa last night. So Sterling's numbers are looking really, really poor, and I think there is a case even more so now that Aguero's out to move on from him.
I mean, wasn't it that when he hauled the first week was when Aguero didn't start, came on, obviously got a goal, but so Sterling was playing false 9 then, and he got his 20-pointer. So I don't know, we haven't really have a big sort of sample size of him playing without Aguero this season. So one time he hauled, and we don't know otherwise. But I guess it's a good sort of signifier that it could happen again. I think it's hard to move on from him. He's probably going to troll again tonight and score loads in the Champions League and annoy his owners even more. But yeah, he's Sterling. There's not that many premiums, so it's hard to move him on. If I had him still, I'd probably still be keeping him. But
I mean, we'll get to our transfers at the end, but I actually do think this is the week I am going to take him out and get rid of him. So
interesting.
I think that sort of ties in with this Newcastle fixture. I mean, I don't know what you've thought about them, and they obviously came off the back of a 2-0 loss last night, but they've only conceded 4 goals at home in the league this season, which is the second best record behind Leicester. I mean, that's pretty impressive for them, sort of like towards the bottom end of the league table.
And they've only conceded more than once at home this season as well. So, we saw Newcastle beat Man City last year, and
I think it wasn't. So it was close the year before as well.
Oh, sure. So I can't see this being an easy one. That's for sure. And that's why I'm maybe not going to go Jesus, because it probably won't be easy because Newcastle can defend at home. That's why I later on when we talk about captain options, I don't think any City players are captain options this week, really.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Have you seen anyone from Newcastle that sort of floated your boat recently, or?
No, I literally have nothing to say here. I didn't watch the game last night. I've got no one to mention. Okay. I thought St. Maximin looked fun the last week, but obviously against Villa away, you'd think they'd probably do something, but they didn't. So let's just move on.
He's another actually that's had a high XG than Sterling in the last 4 game weeks. Yeah, and the fact that 2 of Newcastle's wide players have had more XG than Sterling, and I don't know what it is. Like, I mean, I won't div on him too long, but I mean, people keep talking about his touches in the penalty box. I mean, he had plenty again against Chelsea, but until it return or until it sort of there's end product there, it's difficult to own at such an expensive asset who's blanking. I mean, 4 in the last 6 is really, really poor. So yeah, I think he's gone for me this week.
Yep.
Right then, Burnley against Palace, Saturday 3 p.m. I think the fixtures have turned for Palace, haven't they, Kieran?
Sure have, yeah. Big swing.
They're looking really good now. So they don't play any of the traditional top 6 teams now until January the 6th, which is only Arsenal away. So that could probably be categorised as an easy fixture as well. Yeah. But I mean, that's a heck of a lot of games in a row there. Is anyone that sort of caught your eye? I mean, they're not scoring, which is their only problem, but they could be good from a defensive point of view.
I mean, I think PVA is possibly an option. I mean, he hasn't had much in the way of sort of attacking returns for a while, but yeah, he can do it. At 5.6, maybe too expensive, but he's differential at least. Obviously, Cahill at 4.5 nailed on, looks good for possible clean sheets. Obviously, they got the fixtures to do it, and we know that Palace can be really solid at the back. Although they haven't been recently, but he gets quite a few shots in. He gets headed chances. So, Cahill's one to look at. I think Joel Ward is injured again, so I don't think he's one to go for. But Kelly could be back in the team with Ward injured. So, seems to pop up like all the time with Ward being injured and just getting back his space back. So, hard to bring him in if you don't have him, I don't think, because, hard to say if he's ever nailed. But, Kelly, for people who do own him, may come in for a few weeks, which would be good for you. But other than that, it's probably Zaha who you've got sort of stats on.
I mean, it's just in sort of to coincide with the fixtures really, because it's like we've been saying for weeks now, his form has been so poor. Like, we have not really had to mention him much on the show, which is a shame because in previous FPL seasons he's been really fun. But I mean, he scored his first goal of the season against Liverpool, timely time to score it with all these fixtures with Burnley, Bournemouth, Watford, Brighton, Newcastle. I mean, that is such a juicy run of fixtures. Less than 8% ownership, which I was surprised is quite high still. So I wonder if he was auto-picked quite high at the start of the season.
Yeah, probably.
But XG of 0.7 in the last 4 games. I mean, that's total. So the numbers aren't great, and Palace haven't been that threatening. They've had these tough fixtures come off the back of them, but yeah, maybe I need a fixture or two to see if Palace can be a potential sort of like investable option.
I mean, I can't see them scoring against Burnley away, and Bournemouth at home, I think it's probably not that likely either, really. I think Watford away, yeah. Brighton at home, possibly.
Can I surprise you, Kieran? Palace won this one 3-1 last year, and Zaha scored 3 goals. They scored. It's like a record, club record.
But that was last year, and they're just not doing it now, are they? So, yeah.
All right, fair enough. What do you think about Burnley? I'm sure you were very excited to see Pope got those 9 points after all the crap I've seen Ryan do, getting like saves and points, and then Pope just being abysmal for weeks. 2 9-pointers in a row.
I don't know how he gets that, because he got 3 saves, and he got 2 bonus from a 3 saves game and a 3-0 victory. What did he do to get 2 bonus?
Must have been worldy saves. Must have been worldy saves.
Just, I don't know.
They weren't on match of the day, so it must have been. Yeah, I don't know. It was strange, but yeah, he's joint second, isn't he now?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I think he's 3 points behind, maybe 4. If you have him, great. There's 4 or 5 sort of 4.5 keepers that are just doing well and just providing points. So just season keepers, don't chop and change. Just if you've got Pope, if you've got Ryan, you should be happy. So some little surprising stat I have here. Over the last 4 weeks, XG wise, Burnley are 5th overall with 8.56 and 8 scored. Wow. And they're above Chelsea for the last 4 weeks. Chelsea are all teams who we've been looking at for points all year. I was really surprised by that. I mean, Wood and Barnes have looked good. They've both scored again in the last game. Big value for these guys. They're only 0.2 and 0.3 more expensive than Ings, and everyone's looking at Ings now. Why are we not kind of looking at them? Wood only had 6 shots over the last 4 weeks, but he's had 2 goals, so he's clinical. He's kind of like the Vardy of the 6.5-ish area, and he's a bit of a stat buster, but. His XG, I think, over before this week was something like 3.5 for the last 3 weeks. So that was really good. I think, Crystal Palace at home, good fixture. Man City at home is obviously bad. Tottenham away, I don't think is that bad. And then they got Newcastle at home and then Bournemouth away. So they're not that bad, to be honest.
Yeah, they're all right.
And if you want to go for someone with such low ownership, then Wood and Barnes, they're both good options, I think.
Yeah. Well, Barnes has dropped so much as well, hasn't he? I mean, remember when I bought him, he was like 6'8" or 6'9". To drop down to 6, I think he's 6'3", is he?
6'3",
yeah, so it's like big drop off. But like you say, they're like I found with Pope, and I suppose like you'll get with strikers of that ilk and that price bracket, it's just about patience. If you can handle the fact that they will go on these little runs of scoring in back-to-back games that then maybe not score for 4 or 5, it's just about getting that timing right. If you can just find like the weeks where you've got a free transfer and maybe one of your players has got some crap fixtures and they've got good ones, but like you said, I can't see them getting much in that home game against Man City.
No.
But yeah, the Crystal Palace, Newcastle and Bournemouth games in the next 5 could be good.
Agree.
Should we move on to West Ham Chelsea? Do you want to hit me with some Chelsea stats? Because as you'll find, I've looked up a few teams tonight and I've been really unimpressed with their FPL assets, and we'll get more into that as we go on. But yeah, tell me some good things about Chelsea, because this looks like a game they're going to win 6 or 7-0.
Does it?
Yeah.
Anyway, right, XG wise, over the last 4 weeks, they're 7th. Obviously, like I said, Burnley above them. 9 goals with an XG of 7.40, which is obviously slightly overperforming. An XGC of 4.98, which is 6th, and 5 conceded. And I think they've kept a clean sheet the last 4 games at home, something like that. I think you've got that, or three games anyway. They've scored at least 1 goal in every game, bar Gameweek 1, which is the United 4-0. And then they've scored 2 or more goals in 8 of the 13 weeks so far, which is
that's good.
Which is really good. And then you look at the last 4 weeks and you see Burnley at a higher XG. You're like, what the hell? It's just like, that doesn't make sense. Abraham, he's sort of been a bit awkward lately, hasn't he? If we're looking at sort of captaincy options this week, I don't think Tammy's one.
No, I don't think so either. It's strange as well, because I reckon he's got the fixture and he's proven he's been good. but not at home.
Exactly. So I've got written down here the home versus away record so far. He's got 28 points at home versus 55 away from home. And that's a massive difference, right?
Yeah.
So can you trust him at home in a plum fixture where you want to be, where he's 8 million-ish now or something? Yeah. So I don't know. Can we trust him at home? Armband? Not sure. Mount, another one to talk about. Is it time to sell? Is he going to be rotated? Are all those sort of rotation mids going to start happening?
Yeah.
I think William was terrible against City. I think maybe he might get rotated sometimes. Kante, Kovacic, and Jorginho, they probably don't need that three in sort of crappy against crap teams, basically. So one of them's going to go out and someone's going to come in. Like, I mean, I'm worried with Mount. I'm worried possibly going to Pulisic as well because he could get rotated too. So, possibly time to move on to someone, say like Tielemans or something like that, or Zaha. If you really
so you
want
think
to go
just
there,
avoid Chelsea completely then?
I'm not sure. That's the thing.
What, in the midfield slot?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, we had some questions in about whether Son against Pulisic is sort of like a new midfield option, and it sort of brings that question a little bit wider around to Mount as well, because when he is a replaceable option in this midfield, Chelsea's fixtures are looking really good. And before this last game week, we just took it for granted that he was going to be like nailed on in that first 11.
Yeah.
And now we've seen, well, he's not, as well as his form's really dipped off. And even back just a week ago, I was like, he'll be fine. He'll come back into this team in that midfield three, and they've got 3 really good fixtures at home in their next 4. But now that they play, I thought they played pretty well against City with that midfield three of Kante, Kovacic, and Jorginho. So it's going to be difficult for him to displace one of them, I think, now.
To be honest, I think he probably comes in this game. But he could play in the Champions League tonight and then get rotated again at the weekend. Yeah. So, he is kind of a juicy little cash cow for me to get up to someone like Son. And at the same time, like I don't really love Pulisic. I don't rate him that much. I think we both said we watch him and he doesn't seem to do that much.
But the numbers,
even though he keeps returning.
Yeah.
His numbers are great, but. Maybe I should just forget about that. But I think Pulisic could be rotated as well. So
do I. That's why it's difficult to bring him in, because you've just got Cho there. You're just moving from one potential rotation option to another. Yeah. And really, like you say, you don't want to be doing that when they've got such good fixtures. I think the only other teams at the moment who've got similar fixtures, which is probably why there's been a lot of interest in them, are Leicester, because they're another team who's got 3 home games in the next 4, and because Mount and Tielemans, you know you're going to get starts out of them, and you know they're going to be in for attacking returns. They seem like an easy switch, but sometimes it's not.
So what are you saying with Mount? Because you've got Mount. What are you doing with him?
Well, at the moment, I was going to wait and see what happens in Champions League this week, but I'm worried because, I mean, on paper, and actually what we've seen in real life, West Ham have just been the whipping boys the last 5-6 game weeks. They are going to get a thrashing at Chelsea this game week. And it's going to be at least 2 or 3 goals. I haven't got the balls enough to captain Abraham because he's burnt me before, and he's not like a slayer like Vardy, despite the fixture being a lot better. But someone like Mount, you just want to be happy within your team knowing he's starting. And now that he's not, and he's nearly 7 million probably.
Yes,
I think he's 6. Yeah, so I mean that's quite a lot of money for either your 3rd or your 4th midfielder, depending on what your team structure's like. So if he's not starting in a home game against West Ham, Villa or Bournemouth, 3 juicy home games. Yeah, it might be time to move him on, but
if you could go up to someone like Son, would that be? Would you sell him?
I think you'd do it, because you know you're going to get starts out of Son. You know there's attacking returns. It's just fact that Mount's got a question mark on him now, which is a shame.
So if you could go from Mount to Pulisic, would you do that?
No.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so awkward.
Too much of a rotation for me. Maybe I'm just a bit not brave enough to take it on.
I know a lot of people on Twitter have done it. Like it seems to be a big move at the moment, and everyone seems so keen on him. Like his numbers are great for Pulisic, but I don't know. It's hard to think that Lampard would really like completely drop Mount after he's been with him at Derby and played him in pretty much every game this season. Like even when he's come back from injury, he's come straight back in. Like why would he suddenly just screw this guy, but Pulisic's way better. It's just like Mount's just on the bench constantly. I can't see it personally.
No, I mean, to be honest, I can't see him being consistently benched for like maybe 4 or 5 game weeks in a row. But now that I think it's probably more the fact that Kante and Kovacic and Jorginho are more of a defensive-minded midfield three, and you want to play on the counter-attack against City. Like, I probably...
Yeah, sure.
In my head, I probably think that Mount comes back into the team, and it probably is Willian that drops out, and maybe he plays in the front three.
So say Mount gets benched in the tough like away games against the top 6 or something.
I'd be fine with that.
He's probably going to blank anyway. So and then he comes back in against West Ham and he gets a goal and assist or something. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, Pulisic, I just had a little look now because I wasn't sure, but he started the last 4 in a row. So he has really dislodged Mount, and in that time he's got about 33 points. I think so, or maybe 39 points. So yeah, he's doing well, but I suppose he's not being rotated. But I don't know. It just feels like there's a bit of a fear there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've talked about it.
Enough on Chelsea. I just think that West Ham have just got nothing to be excited about at the moment. I think that Pellegrini's surely on the list of potential team or managers that are going to get sacked up soon. Conceded at least 3 goals in the last 3 games. I mean, their keeper doesn't look up to it. Their heads just dropped so quickly against Spurs. And we said, didn't we, on the show last week that it was going to be like a crazy high-scoring game? I think I said it was going to be 4-2, and I nearly got it. But yeah, I just feel like they could get whipped again. They conceded the joint most big chances on the road this season. And it's actually the best player in their team, actually, is Snodgrass at the moment. He's got 24 points in the last 4 games, which 6 points per game is pretty decent. But just to show how poor the rest of the squad is, Yarmolenko's next on 12, Haller on 11. So that's points in the last 4. I mean, we're going to get to another early season favourite a bit later who's done even worse than that, half as bad as that. So I'll let you think who that might be. But I mean, 12 points and 11 points respectively in the last 4 games is awful. Mm-hmm. Also worth noting, actually, that Diop picked up his 5th yellow card and he's going to be out against Chelsea this weekend. So
Balbuena and Ogbonna back too.
Blimey. All right. Should we talk about Liverpool against Brighton?
Yeah, so 4 weeks of really good fixtures until they're blank in 18. Obviously, Everton at home might be slightly difficult, but you'd still expect Liverpool to win that. So yeah, team stats wise, their XG of the last 4 weeks is 4th at 8.8. They've scored 9, so that's not ideal, I suppose, for a Liverpool team who's top of the league. You'd expect it to be a little bit higher. And then XGC is 5.44 with 4 conceded. So yeah, they've conceded a single goal in every game this year, bar their 2 clean sheets. So I don't know. A lot of them have been kind of unlucky. Like say, like Ings' one where Adrian kicked it at his leg or whatever. A lot have just been them sort of switching off late in the games. So I don't know. When are they finally going to tighten that sort of screw for the clean sheets? Will it happen? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a strange one, isn't it? It's like maybe their mentality from like the wing back play has just changed for this season. Like Robertson and Trent still seem as attacking as they were last season, maybe even a little more so. But it's just affecting their defence. I reckon they'll probably tighten up in the second half of the season.
I think during Christmas they're probably going to get quite a few.
Yeah, they've got the fixtures to do it now.
Yeah, but Brighton at home, Everton at home, Bournemouth away, Watford at home. Those next 4 are surely there's a couple clean sheets there at least, right?
You'd think so. Against this Brighton one this weekend.
Yeah.
I think Brighton's only scored 1 goal in their last 3 visits to Anfield, and they blanked their last 2 times there. So, yeah, the history of Brighton being poor at Anfield is there.
So, players-wise, we got Robertson versus Trent in the last 5 weeks, right? So, points-wise for Robertson, 30 versus 14 of Trent. An XG of 0.51 versus 0.23. The key passes is 9 for Roy versus 18 of TAA. Wow. But those key passes, like, they might be double, but he's not getting returns. They're not going anywhere. No. They might be a key pass, but whoever it's going to is not finishing anything or whatever. So XA is 1.91 versus 1.48. So Robbo's XA is higher than Trent's now, and he's not taking corners. He's not taking free kicks. So yeah, that's something. Versus 1. So yeah, Robbo's comfortably outscoring Trent by more than double over the last 5 weeks. Actually, this is not 4. Trent's stats are still good, but no returns.
Yeah.
I mean, question mark on when will he haul? It sounds like he probably will, but will he haul at all? I mean, who knows? And then there's lots of people trying to possibly make the switch.
What, sideways?
Well, yeah, sideways, yeah. In my opinion, definitely don't do that. It's either both or neither, or if you already have just Robbo, then great. But yeah, don't sell Trent for Robbo. That's not the way to go.
Yeah,
because it's gonna happen soon. He's gonna get something. So
we hope so. We live in hope. But I mean, Robertson's comfortably outpassed him now. Is it? I think I'm just checking now, but I think it was 5 game weeks. That was right. I wasn't sure it was 4 or 5. So Trent's blanked in 4 of the last 5 game weeks, while Robbo's just sort of shot up right past him.
Yeah.
It's difficult because I think, like you said, I think if you go sideways, you're going to just always be looking over, thinking, "Oh my God, what's the other one doing on the other side?" Mm-hmm. It's going to be but then at the same time, I think it's really difficult to warrant 2 because they aren't keeping the clean sheets, and that's a 14-ish million for the pair of them now. It's quite a big investment in their defence if they're not getting the basics.
But we think they're going to start getting clean sheets, but who knows?
We've been thinking that though. We're in game week 14 coming up. We've been thinking they'll be getting clean sheets for a while, and they've just not been coming too. But
yeah. I mean, Zaha hadn't scored all season. Gets a goal against Liverpool, in the 70th minute or something. We always get that sort of clean sheet pop up at 60 minutes. And you're like, yes, this double clean sheet that many people have is just going to come in finally, and then it gets ripped away.
It's ridiculous.
Mane is now the same price as Salah. That's never happened before. So yeah, he's now 39.8% owned as well. Salah is now 23.2%, and Klopp has actually said that Salah is now 100% fit. He's trained. He trained the Friday before the game. So yeah, I think he plays in the Champions League against Napoli. I'm excited to see how he looks, and if he is 100%, if he comes through fitness free, I suppose, or fitness good, and then I might bring him in as my double up instead of a Robertson look, because Salah at 23% owned is juicy. Yeah, absolutely. So and I've got the way to do it with Aguero cash cow being injured. It's just like, why not? If he's fine, then let's go for it.
All right, I haven't really heard any of your transfer plans. We'll have a bit of a chit chat about that at the end when we do the questions as well. All right, on the Brighton side of things, this is going to be the second of sort of 3 teams I've looked at where there is just no investment worthy apart from the goalkeeper again. Won't spoil the other team because they're going to be coming up right up soon, but I mean their defences look poor on the road, so I expect Liverpool to take advantage of that. They've conceded the most big chances on the road this season of any team. But similar to West Ham, none of their players are in particularly great form, so Ryan's total of 20 points over the last 4 is the most of any of their players, which is fantastic for a goalkeeper. That's 5 points average per game. But I think their next best was like 16 or 17 points per game, so none of them are showing any sort of decent investable form at the moment, and there's nothing really in underlying statistics. I keep mentioning Trossard, thinking maybe he'll come through, and it just seems like weeks I'm saying that, but their fixtures aren't good, at least for the next 5, I'd say. They've got Liverpool or Arsenal back-to-back away games now. They've got Wolves at home, it's going to be difficult, Palace away, and then they've got Sheffield United. That's a really rough run of games, and yeah, they could do a fixture run like Liverpool's. Everton, Bournemouth, Watford would be nice for them.
I don't think Arsenal's tough, and I think they could keep clean sheet against Wolves, Palace, and Sheffield United for sure. Why not? So yeah, with Ryan, who gets loads of passing and then saves, then yeah, I think he's fine to still own, to be honest.
I've got nothing bad to say about Ryan. I'm just
about the rest of them.
Yeah, the rest of them. It's a shame really, because Potter did look quite exciting at the start of the season, but they've not really. I think a lot of teams this season have had quite good periods of like at least 3 fixtures, let's say, in the first 14 game weeks, but Brighton doesn't really feel like they've had that. They've only had that. I
don't know. I thought they looked good at the start of the season, with Trossard looking good and Mopai getting a few goals. But
they had those back-to-back games, weren't they, against Norwich and Everton a couple of game weeks ago, and that was like an investable time. And people that got Mopai, I think, got 1 goal and some bonus out of him. But yeah, it's not been huge. But anyway, what can you expect? Should we talk about Spurs against Bournemouth?
Yes.
All right. So I just start by just saying on the Bournemouth side of things, this is the player now who has scored 6 points in his last 4 games. Bear in mind he started and played them all. I mentioned him a minute ago. It's Callum Wilson, Kieran. Can you believe it? The early season hero, Callum Wilson. What a fall from grace. I tried to search his name on Twitter the other day. No matches, Kieran. Everyone's given up on him. Literally, he wasn't appearing anywhere. So, yeah, Callum Wilson's totally fallen off the radar now. And again, on the Bournemouth side, I don't know what's going on with them at the moment. Their keeper, again, is the highest scoring points per game in the last 4. That's Ramsdale. He's got 23 points, but there's just nothing doing in the Bournemouth side, which makes me think I want in. I'm so pleased I got rid of Rico last weekend for Soyuncu, because for the 2 weeks international break, I was like, yes, rub my hands together, thinking Rico attacking points in a home game against Wolves, pick up those last 6 to 9 points, then transfer them out before their fancy run. But bottled that idea and went for Soyuncu, and I'm glad I did, because their fixtures coming up, man. Well, Tottenham, Palace, Liverpool, Chelsea. It's not good, is it? What's going on?
Yeah, I was certainly considering taking him out as well for Cahill last week, for just to get one week ahead of the Palace fixture swing. But yeah, I had other plans in the end. But yeah, I think he probably he's good for over Christmas, I suppose. He still is playing. I was worried about him possibly not starting, wasn't I, last week with Francis being back? But Francis goes and gets a red card, so nothing to worry about again. Yeah, I think he's nailed on at least for the next few. So yeah, if you need that sort of extra money elsewhere in your team, I think he's still good to own at least.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, talking about Bournemouth in general, do you think they're going to get battered here? I mean, they lost 5-0 away last season. Mourinho's first home game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Kane, Son and Moura all scored. Do you see another sort of big victory coming this weekend for Spurs?
I think it's hard to tell. West Ham were that bad, weren't they? So and Spurs didn't look that great for all of that game. So and Bournemouth are definitely better at defending than West Ham. So see how Spurs do in Champions League tonight. If they look good, then yeah, Bournemouth could get smashed. But I'm not expecting a riot. Let's say that.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, Spurs in general. This is obviously including before the manager bounce, but yeah, the XG is 6.6, which is 10th, completely middle of the road with 6 scored, an XGC of 6.4, which is 11th with 6 conceded. So they're all basically on par. Yeah, against West Ham away, their XGC was 2.56, which is 4th, which is 3 scored. Right. So you know. Which is 4th of that 1 week. So it's still not the highest when against the West Ham, which is so bad. But yeah, in that one game, he obviously scored 3. Still conceded 2 against a team that looked so awful.
That was a surprise, wasn't it?
Exactly. So yeah, the one game manager bounce for the offense is looking pretty good, but defense still not exactly solid. And Jose's known for that. But I'm hoping for a clean sheet tonight so that they can possibly become options in the future. Yeah. Aurier possibly. But yeah, Kane in that game against West Ham, he had 2 shots, 2 on target, an XG of 0.6, which is not great. 1 big chance, 1 key pass, 6 points. I've got down he needs to improve. He looks like a number 9 in the first 20 minutes, like dropping off the back as usual. And it was sort of off the back of the shoulder of the last man sort of thing. And then yeah, he just tended to drop back after that. In the first 20, he just went back to his midfield role and let Moura and Son go past him. But yeah, I'm expecting Jose to change that, and he should be a proper 9 from now on, because Jose said that he hadn't changed their tactics for the first game. He just wanted to kind of see what was happening and just change the lineup, I suppose. But yeah, I think Jose likes his proper number 9. He liked his Lukaku. He likes his Ibrahimovic. He likes those sort of guys. So yeah, I'm optimistic that Kane will look a better sort of fantasy asset in the future.
Has he crossed your mind as a potential Aguero replacement, or is it not something you really want to?
Well, yeah, he has, because Aguero's Kane and Tierney up to Robertson would be so easy. But at the same time, is Kane going to be any good? Son looks so good that maybe I want Son instead, and we've got more money in the bank then. So I don't know. It's hard.
It is tricky.
Hard choice.
Really tricky.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me about Son then, because I watched the highlights of the game. It sounds like he passed the eye test for you more than Kane did. I mean, just even looking at his numbers, I was thinking, well, there's my Sterling replacement right there. New manager bounce, good game, home game against Bournemouth, and then Jose's got a point to prove in that away game against United. Following that, a Burnley game at home. I think they had 3 decent fixtures for Tottenham.
Yep. So he had an XG of 0.6, which is same as Kane, not fantastic, but an XA of 0.92. So yeah, he's expected an assist basically, or nearly a goal in every game, or in that game good, at least. And then he had 3 key passes and 2 big chances created, which is really good for in one game anyway. So yeah, Son looks like the person who's probably going to get most of the points, but you can see it possibly sort of spreading out across all of them. Obviously, Moura got a goal as well. Dele got an assist. So it's going to be hard to pick one. Maybe a double up is possibly on the cards as well. But yeah, special mention to Moura, who had an XG of 1.06. He had 3 shots, which was the most out of all of them. So yeah, pretty good for him. Yeah, and he's 7 million-ish now, so he could be a shrewd purchase. Even though we've sort of looked into him before at times in the season and last year as well, but I think Jose tried to buy him when he was at Real Madrid from. Where was he from?
PSG, I think.
Brazil or something. Well, PSG went for him before. PSG got him instead of Real Madrid. So yeah, I think Jose likes him. So one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's obvious that Jose didn't like Eriksen then, because Eriksen didn't make the first 11. So that's promising. I mean, Jose notoriously used to, as well at Chelsea, used to play the 4-3-2-1 and other places. So if he's playing Dele in that number 10, Moore and some wide, they're workhorses, which is a sort of blueprint of an old Chelsea team when he used to play with Robin and, I don't know, Damien
Oscar and stuff.
Yeah. I was going to say Damien Duff. I was going to go way back. But yeah, he likes that sort of wide player. So, no, I was really pleased to see Son and Moore look good. But like you say, it is West Ham, and Spurs were really poor before that, and they hadn't won away since January. So let's just treat the new manager bounce with a pinch of salt for a minute.
I mean, Son has returned in the last 4, not goals in every one, but attacking returns. So, and we always know he goes on a sort of a spree of games of returns. So he's probably halfway through it already. So we either get on it now or we just forget about him.
Yeah. Well, it was this time last year. Remember, over Christmas, sort of late November, Christmas time,
when Kane was out.
Yeah, Kane was out, and Son was just like the main man. But I mean, Son's just been quietly going about his business. I had a look at the overall points. He's only 5 now behind Sterling for the season. If Sterling hadn't had that 20-point haul this season and had like a sort of like a median, let's say, of all his other points so far this season, Sterling would be way down that ranking. That one West Ham game at the start of the season has just sort of blown his points a little bit out of proportion. But anyway, it shows what you can do on a good day. Right, let's talk about some boring teams. Saints against West Ham. It somehow made it onto the televised game on the Saturday night, so certainly TV will be unplugged, I think, while this is on. And anyway, so I just round up Watford quite quickly, because they obviously battered 3-0 by Burnley at the weekend. 4 shots on target, which is criminally bad for a home game against Watford, and that's just been their main problem this season. Who is it? Southampton lost their last 4 home matches, and Watford have just won once in the last 18. So I mean, there's nothing really to get excited about from a fantasy point of view. Maybe Ings a little bit, but I think Watford's defence has been okay, proven by the fact that another team. So this is now the 3rd team, like I mentioned earlier in the show. Watford, Brighton, and Bournemouth, all of their goalkeepers have been their highest scoring players over the last 4 game weeks, which makes me think that 3 of the teams in the Premier League this season are just not investable outfield assets. I mean, I don't want a 4.5 million goalkeeper, Kieran. I don't. I've got one.
Yeah.
I don't want any more.
Foster isn't even 4.5.
He's not. He's 5. He's too expensive. But he was ridiculous. So he's got 23 points in the last 4. Delafeu, that is the second best. He's got 22. I get fed up talking about Delafeu, Kieran. He had 4 shots against Burnley, hit the woodwork, but he only turns on against the bottom of the table team. So I don't know, he'll probably get a hat trick against Saints. Anyway, that's my down and out chat on Watford. Don't buy their players is my bottom line, because I bloody hell won't be.
Okay, and one thing to mention about the Saints. Okay. Next 2 at home. Next 4, next 5 probably couldn't get any better for any team. Watford at home, Norwich at home, so 2 in a row at home, Newcastle away, West Ham at home, and then Aston Villa away. So those 5 are juicy as. But and the last game against Arsenal, they had 21 shots, which is the top of all teams last week. and they had 5 big chances created and an XG of 2.96. So that's really good. And that just shows how bad Arsenal are. But that Saints team who you wouldn't really associate with XG, high XG, and lots of shots, who turning on against Arsenal. So Ings got his goal, didn't he? Kind of another one that I don't know. I don't know how to take it as another one sort of like really smartly done, but probably shouldn't have even got it because the ball was rolling and VAR didn't do anything about it. So I don't know. His goals have all been lucky still. It's just I don't know what to think about him. Like he looks so juicy with those next two good fixtures, all those 5 fixtures, but he's 19th for XG for forwards of 1.08 of the last 4 weeks. He's only had 6 shots. He's had 2 goals.
I don't know. He's defying everything, Keek. I've been thinking about him all season, and he's just I don't know how he's doing it.
I'm considering him because he's those fixtures and he just keeps doing it. But as soon as I get him, he's gonna blank in his foot. He's like Wilson when he had those 2 really great home fixtures in a row and just blank. So Ings is going to do the same, isn't he? If I get him, so.
Well, I tried to keep it quiet. I tried to think this is going to be my secret differential. He's only gone and scored in the last 2 games, so he's not kept anything quiet. And
he's still only 3.8% owned, so
I can't afford him now without the hit this week, and that definitely doesn't seem worth it. So, the ship sailed when I got in Sointu instead last week, which I'm fairly happy about. But it's one of those ones where I might look back and think he would have been like a really nice differential to get in. But like if I could do Mount and someone to, or Mount and Greenwood to Ings and someone, that would be something I'd do. But
ship hasn't sailed yet because these fixtures are so good. No. But I'm not sure if I can see him doing much, but we'll see.
I like how much we're saying juicy tonight as well. That's the 3rd time, so we'll keep our juicy numbers up tonight. Yeah. Right, we're on to Sunday now.
Hubba bubba juicy.
Hubba bubba juicy. We're on to Sunday's fixtures. So big klaxon. We were going to come up with like a little sound effect, weren't we?
Oh, yeah, we screwed the pooch here.
Yeah, we have. All right, Norwich against Arsenal kicks off Super Sunday. Kieran, Norwich are revitalised. Cantwell's on everyone's bench, or not yours anymore.
No.
What happened?
A Norwich 5-0 here, maybe. Arsenal were that bad. I sold Cantwell. He hadn't returned since Gameweek 7. Mm-hmm. So, no, actually, it's his first return since week 5. I've got here. Yeah. So I sold him. He was just rotting on my bench. He was dropping all the time. Got rid for someone who I just wanted to have 2 points per game in a Hayden. And to be honest, I'm happy he's gone. Just finally glad to get rid of him. I don't have to be tempted to play him. He got a 10-point haul. Good on him, I suppose. They've got this fixture against Arsenal, and I think they could do something as well. Again, Cantwell in the 10 position looked good. So, and I think Pookie finally got his first return in ages as well since week 5, and when Cantwell played in the number 10, and that's what they were doing in the weeks that they were doing really well. So they're finally going back to what did them well. Yeah. So I don't know. I think Pookie, if you've still got him, I think keep him for this week because Arsenal are that bad. So
I think it's a fair shout. I mean, they got booed off, didn't they? I think the fans are just losing patience with the team. It seems like they want Emery out. The fact that it seemed like, from watching the highlights, in the 96th minute, they drew level with the equaliser, and the fans seemed unhappy that they got it because they thought, if we lose this game, the manager might be out a little bit quicker. And some of the abuse that they were getting towards the end of the game, everything's just been toxic since all the Xhaka incident, and it doesn't help any of the players. And Norwich now come here on the back of, or having as many clean sheets this season as Liverpool, Man United and Arsenal. So it could be another 2-0 away win. Oh, sorry, a 2-0 win for Norwich. But I just wanted to compare Laka and Aubameyang because obviously I had him as a cub pick. I'd totally forgotten about it until you mentioned that I was really jammy. So I wanted to have a look at how well Laka's actually been doing, and he has been besting Aubameyang so well over the last 4 games. It is so. This is Lacazette now. He's had 13 shots in the box in the last 4. That's the 3rd best in the league. 2 goals and 2 assists, and he's had 28 penalty area touches. So by comparison, Aubameyang's had 11. So he's more than doubled, nearly tripled Aubameyang's penalty area touches since he's been shifted wide. Yep. And he's matched Aubameyang for big chances. He's had 2 in the last 4, and his expected points, which is sort of the metric of based on the underlying stats, he's had an expected points of 21 to Aubameyang's 18 in the last 4. So he's basically bested Aubameyang in every reasonable metric, let's say, over the last 4 game weeks, and there's nothing really to me that says it would be worth keeping Aubameyang at this point. I mean, he's been given the captaincy armband by Emery for Arsenal, but FPL terms, I don't think you want to put it on him anymore.
He doesn't seem like much of a captain in real life either. No. I don't think he's a leader. But anyway, they still got good fixtures, haven't they? Obviously, Norwich away is good on paper. Yeah. Brighton at home is good. West Ham away. Those are 3 good fixtures still. So, but there's so many other people like Aubameyang down to a Jimenez if you don't have, and then if you can get in Son with the money, then this seems like a way better option.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on. Well, I was going to ask you about Tierney, but I don't even think that many people have owned him, so perhaps we'll just talk about your transfers at the end. Is he going to come up there, do you think?
He's looking to be gone, to be honest.
To be gone. Yeah. All right. Wolves against Sheffield United is another Sunday fixture because Wolves play in the Europa League this Thursday. They're up to 5th now, Keek, in the table. They've sort of snuck that out of nowhere, really, haven't they?
Yeah, they look good at the moment. Obviously, Jimenez continuing to score. Becoming the next template player. I think everyone's looking at him. So next 5 look really good, bar a possible tricky game at Spurs. But they played well against Spurs both games last year. Sheffield United at home next, West Ham United at home after that. If United can score 3 past Sheffield United, then Wolves can do it. I mean, Jimmy has had 21 shots, 9 on target and 15 in the box, which is first of all forwards in the last 4 weeks. And the nearest next to him is 17 shots. Wow. So he's nicely above that. 2.19 XG, which is 5th of forwards, and an XA of 1.22, which is 3rd. So his XG and XA are both high. So at this point, it's hard not to look at him as a Aguero replacement, to be honest. With the fixtures looking good, with Europa not really seeming to affect them. I'm definitely looking at him. But there is someone who the forgotten man who everyone got rid of at the start of the season, Jota. Yeah. He's back and fit. He's 6.1 million now, 3.1% owned. But his stats are actually pretty close to Jimenez in the last few. So XG is actually better for Jota at 2.50 versus 2.19. That is surprising. And then XA of 0.76 versus 1.22 of Jimmy. So that's worse, but obviously not far off. He's had 4 big chances compared to Jimmy's 2. Good. Yeah. And then he's had 7 key passes versus Jimenez's 9. So just slightly below, but again, good. Points-wise, Jimmy's way ahead, 9 versus 27. So, Jimmy's getting the finishes. But, 6.1 million. If you want to be cute, save some money, Jota might be a way to go, Yeah. What do you think about him?
I think he's scored in the last 3 games as well, hasn't he? I think so, he's...
Returns.
Or maybe he's not scored in the last 3 games. This is Jimenez, sorry, scored in the last 3 games.
Sorry.
But I think that's the reason I was going to say last 3 games. If Jimenez is scoring all the time, if you were a Jota owner, you're just going to be getting heartbroken because he's like the nearly man. Like he's got the really good stats, and then every week you're just watching Jimmy get that single goal, and he usually picks up some bonus as well.
But we saw what could happen last year. Like Jota goes on such a run, and he can be such a good asset.
I mean, I had him in my team, didn't I? At the start of the season, I had to get rid of him after it gave him so many chances. If he starts banging him in, then maybe he could be an option again. But I feel like Jimenez has really elevated himself because of how well he's played. And now Jimenez, is it Vinagre? Who's the other sort of striker there is at Wolves? I feel like that's the defender.
Crotone.
Crotone, that's the one. Yeah. So I feel like he probably gets more.
Crouton on your soup.
Yeah, he gets more of the chance to sort of shine ahead of Jota sometimes. So let's see. It's good that Jota's a potential striking option again. But when Jimenez is looking so good, it's hard to look past him.
And Doherty, also another guy that's been kind of forgotten. He was so good last year. Obviously, he got such a big price rise at 6 million, but he's 3.2% owned. He's not returned since Gameweek 7, but his heat map looked very, very good in the last game against Bournemouth. He had an XG of 0.84, which is 4th amongst defenders. And with 8 shots, and he's had 8 shots in the last 4 weeks, which is the second only behind Lundstrom, who is obviously not a defender. I think he was about 3 shots above the next defender. So, clean sheet in the next 3 look pretty good, or the next 4 at least. And if he's going to be going for a sort of attacking return, then I think he definitely could get one in the next few. So I think Doherty could be a decent buy at the moment.
Yeah, no, well, it's just that price that puts me off him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they've only kept 2 clean sheets all year, and at 6 million, that's not great, like with Liverpool. But I don't know. I can see a few clean sheets coming. Yeah.
No, it's an interesting one, but I can see why you've highlighted him just because of his attacking potential. But I think there's been like a turnover in prices for teams like Leicester and Chelsea this season. They've sort of like blown a lot of expensive premiums. Like you and I, especially like this whole big at the back idea at the start of the season was such a huge thing. And because, well, mainly Leicester really have had players like Soyuncu, Evans, Chilwell, basically the whole back line has done really well, as have Sheffield United players. So it's been it's been difficult to invest in that bigger than back. But moving on to Sheffield United, I don't think there's too much to say that we don't already know about them. I think Lundstram had another cracking game against United. Just every week he seems to be doing something amazing. I mean, I thought about it and wrote it down. Just like how he started at a 4 million option that we thought, he's just going to be a player to fill our squads with. He might get a few minutes. We then realised he's become a starter. He was playing every week. Then he was in midfield. And then after 13 game weeks, has the second most attacking returns of the whole squad. I mean, he's now just someone I feel like I've got to play every week because he's so far advanced. And like the game against Man United, he's getting in the box and he's getting chances. And if he's not going to score, he might get an assist. So, yeah, I think he's just one of those players that you very rarely get in FPL. It's a bit of a gift, and yeah, I hope he keeps giving. I think Moussa is the one who's been really unlucky this weekend because he was showing such great form. Player to sort of rival Ings in that budget bracket. The fact that he was only 5 million, owned by less than 3%, 6 attacking returns in the last 3 games. Obviously, that triple assist game against Burnley, which bumped those numbers up, but he looked really, really good. In the last 5 games, he's been the second highest scoring striker. And their fixtures are so good too, so I sort of hope that hamstring injury isn't as bad as it looked. Have you heard any update about that one since the weekend? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't. No.
But yeah, after Wolves, which I think is a tough game for Sheffield United. I mean, they've drawn 5 of their last 6 away games, so they're good on the road this season without being clinical. But yeah, Wolves, Newcastle, Norwich, Villa and Brighton the next 5. I think if Moussa could get back in time for even the Newcastle game in a couple of weeks' time, I think it's actually next midweek, isn't it? So yeah, he could be a good option, but unfortunately I don't see that happening. Any more to add on that game?
No, it's just a shame he picked up that injury because I would have liked to possibly get on him. So yeah, shame.
That's good. He was basically just in the last sort of games, he was really turning into their sort of like main focal point from an attacking point of view. So 5 million, pretty good. Right, let's talk about everyone's new favourite team again, Leicester, because they're up against Everton at the King Power. Do we think Marco Silva is going to still be in the job on Sunday, Kieran? Quick yes or no from you.
Yeah, I think so. But if they lose this one, then no. No, I think he'll keep it until Sunday. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he'll keep it until Sunday too, and they'll use it as like the game.
If they get dominated.
Yeah, well, I think they will. I can't see them putting on a good performance because they haven't against worse teams. So, I mean, Leicester have been so good, but Everton on the road have been awful. 3rd worst for goals scored on the road this season, and that's after the bottom 2 at the moment. So that's really, really poor, and it sort of shows why they're in the position of the league they are in. Leicester have been very good defensively as well. 4 clean sheets in their last 4. Maybe it's time to double on that Leicester defence, Keek, instead of the Liverpool one.
So Leicester next 4 are very good still. Everton at home, Watford at home, so two at home in a row. Aston Villa away, and then Norwich at home. 4 plum fixtures for them. They're first for XG of the last 4 weeks and first for XGC, so they're probably the best team in the league right now. XG is 12.60, and this is not including that 9-0 drubbing now because that was in week 9. Yeah. So, from 10 to 13, 15 goals scored, 0 conceded.
Incredible.
It's pretty crazy. It's the first time of the season for a 4-week period that any team has surpassed Man City at the top of the XG. And they're first for big chances, second for key passes, first for XA and actual assists and goals, first for big chances as well. it's probably time to triple up if you haven't done, because they are looking that good. One thing to mention is Evans got injured. I don't know how bad it is. And Morgan, who came on for the last 10 minutes or so, he looked visibly really slow, and he looked like they could. He was going to be a reason that they wouldn't keep a clean sheet. So if he is in there for any amount of time, then the clean sheets might dry up. Just saying.
I can totally understand that. I mean, he's a massive downgrade on Evans, and Evans had that sort of track record at United of just getting injured. So. Yeah, it could be bad. There's nothing really from an attacking point on the Everton side, which I think I'd be worried about. So unless they really got at Morgan, if Evans doesn't come back, I could see another clean sheet here. I mean, Richarlison was Everton's best looking player against Norwich from an attacking point of view. I mean, but that was hardly saying anything. He had 2 shots, they're both off target, and he's got the most points of any Everton player in the last 4 game weeks, and it's only been 19. I mean, none of their players are really investable at the moment. I mean, we talked about waiting for their good fixture run after these games, and maybe after, I think it's Arsenal in 5 game weeks' time, their fixtures do turn a little bit better. But Leicester, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, Arsenal, I don't think there's anything to get excited about from them.
It's shocking.
It's really poor. And the fact that they're so close to the bottom of the table, at the start of the season, we were all thinking, maybe it's time to triple on Everton with those great fixtures. We'll get Sigurdsson, we'll get Calvert-Lewin. Who else was their striker that came in from Juventus?
Tosin?
Nah, who was...
Oh, Keane.
Oh, yeah, I'm always Keane. Yeah, that's him.
Poor guy.
Dean. Yeah, so don't know what's happened to him. Anyway, let's talk more about Leicester because they're fun. Vardy captain this weekend. Is that a thing, do you think? It's got to be, isn't it?
Well, I've got more stats on just him and against the team he's against later. But okay. So Vardy... He's now 40% owned, 9.7 million. So a couple of weeks ago, he was about 28%. So I think you need to own him now. He's pretty much essential. He's not a stat buster anymore because his stats are really, really damn good. And he's just crazy in form. He could have had more from last week as well. He had two or three other big chances that he could score from. Yeah. Legitimate captain shout probably every week for the next 4. It's hard to bet against him in this form. So the last 5 weeks he's had 8, 20, 6, 12 and 12, which is 58 points. Yeah, that's good, I've owned him for 3 weeks. I think I got rid of Wilson for him, so that's an upgrade. He's got on me 30 points in those 3 weeks with 2 times captains. An 8 and a 24 and a 24. So
he's just looking so good, isn't he? Just auto captain. Almost at the moment, and as soon as the game loaded in Saturday morning, I instantly looked at my fixtures, and that's probably why people have asked so many questions about it this week. I mean, West Ham rolling up to Stamford Bridge looks like an easy game for Chelsea. Brighton rolling up to Anfield looks like an easy game for Liverpool. I mean, historically, Everton probably a better team than both of those 2 teams in the sort of last 2 or 3 Premier League seasons, and obviously Leicester have not been as good as those 2 teams. But based on what we know now, Vardy has got to be sort of the top captaincy pick this weekend. I just think that Everton are in such bad form, Leicester in such good form. It's got to be him. 90-minute man, penalty man. It's got.
Yeah, his XG the last 4 weeks has been 5.50 first, which is huge.
That's big.
10 big chances was first. The next closest is 6. Not only him that he's getting these chances, his team had created them for them. So 10 is really good. So it's good for the midfield, the defence who are creating the chances. XA is 1.09, so a forward to have an XA over one is good. He just passes all the stats tests. He obviously passes the eye test. He's returning I think he's nailed on to be captain this week. But there are obviously options, and you can see why people think that Everton are going to be a harder nut to crack, but they're probably not because they haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 4.
Fair enough. What do you think about the sort of ever ongoing sort of struggle between Tielemans and Perez, and basically the best of the rest in the midfield? Because we've talked about Barnes and Perez quite a lot on the show, but I don't think either of those are investable for me as assets because I just don't like the fact they don't play the 90 minutes, and that's really irritating. Whereas I think Maddison and Tielemans are better options, but choosing between the 2 of them is a little more tricky.
There's not a lot in it, but Maddison does seem to come out on top. So Maddison versus Tielemans, he's had 10 shots versus 7. XG of 0.7 versus 0.27. So that's big in Maddison's favour. Yeah. Big chances is 0 versus 0. Key passes is 15 versus 8. So that's big in Maddison's favour again. Big chances created is 2 versus 1. Yeah, Maddison again. XA 1.49 versus 0.82. Maddison again doing well there. And points wise, it's 29 versus 23. He could have got that header goal from Vardy's missed penalty. He's on set pieces and everything. So Maddison looks to be the overall sort of best pick in that sort of midfield if you can get to him, obviously. Yeah. But Tielemans not far behind, still a good option. But I don't think he's definitely not as good as Maddison.
No. Well, I think even the base points. I mean, none of the stats there look sort of must-have to me. But the fact that there remains that Tielemans is only 9 points behind Sterling overall, and Maddison is like 4 points behind Sterling overall for the season, makes me think that those two for these fixtures could be just great replacement options as well. Like it almost feels like it's wrong to have too much money in the bank sometimes, but when you have a season when like the I suppose the lower priced players are performing so well, it would be mad not to jump on them. I mean, who is it? Mahrez, Vardy, and Kane all had amazing seasons when they started out in like the 5.5 million bracket. So it just so happens that these Leicester players are right. I mean, we could probably have a much better team spending less money this season anyway.
Yeah.
So, all right. Don't feel obliged to use all the money, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, Man United against Villa, round out the weekend. Kieran, 3 goals from Man United. Obviously, it was their best performance of the season.
Was it?
No. Oh, God, it was really bad. It was really bad. Neville was so funny on commentary, wasn't he?
I didn't actually watch the game, so yeah.
He just basically slagged them off the whole game, and then when they turned it around, he was like, "This is what good quality players can do." But yeah, he was really funny. Anyway, their fixtures, United do turn a little bit after this Villa game, I think, for two tricky ones in Tottenham and City. Mm-hmm. I'm not after sort of like the rush and love in for Martial and Rashford. Do you think it's going to sort of continue over the Christmas period?
Well, surprisingly, like the team XG is 10.53 of 9 scored, which is second over the last 4 weeks for Man United, which is kind of interesting, I suppose, or kind of crazy. You wouldn't think it. Rashford is the second for XG of strikers of 3.50, which again, you just don't really expect just because of how poor they've been. But Rashford has been quite good, I suppose. Yeah. He's been in form for England and United, I suppose. He's had 5 and 11 in his last 2. Aston Villa at home next, who've conceded the most shots of all teams across the whole season, 230. So, I think Rashford is a good option, but obviously they still look crud as a team. He's had 17 shots, 8 on target, 13 in the box. He's playing kind of wide, but drifting in a lot. One to consider as an Aguero replacement. Yeah,
would you see sort of Martial as a potential Mount replacement? People had that money. I think there's about $1 million in it, but I mean,
not really. Not for me. I think if you're looking that area, I think Maddison is probably better to go for, or even just Moura at this point. Just
more reliable, right?
Yeah. Well, possibly. Yeah. He looked like he could be good, but there in that game against Sheffield United, he didn't do anything.
No,
so.
And he looks. I tell you what, there's something about his body language as well. It really puts me off him. Like he just looks like so grumpy. Like obviously it's
so sluggish.
Yeah, it's like he's almost. It's probably really wrong to assume this, but it gives me the attitude that, or when I watch him play, it's like he thinks or he knows he's really good, so he doesn't almost have to put that much effort in. Do you know what I mean? And when he gets subbed off yesterday or on Sunday, he just looks so down. Like, oh man, I've been playing so well, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe he's got a high opinion of himself, and I don't know. It's difficult to sort of back him as a person rather than an FPL asset when he's like that, because he's just like, pull your finger out, mate. Anyway,
agree.
I get that because I'm really not a fan. All right, so Villa, they've got some sort of 2 tricky away games back to back here with the United and Chelsea game. They've been poor on the road. They've lost 5 of their last 6. But they have scored a lot of goals whilst losing. They've scored 6 goals in the last 3 away games, which is more than Liverpool and United, despite United's incredibly high XG. Grealish sort of came back into the team last night. He's now got 5 attacking returns in his last 6 starts. 5.9 million, less than 6% ownership. He's a really nice looking mid-price sort of midfield differential at the moment. Could be a Mount out replacement in a 2 or 3 game weeks time. So, I mean, he's been ticking along quite nicely, and unlike, I suppose, Mount looks like he could be, he looks like he's obviously essential to Villa, and he's going to start every week. He's going to play. It was Hourihane who did well, wasn't it, in the game last night? But I'm not really sure he's an option because he'd only played 17 minutes in the 3 before that, and then he hauls against Newcastle.
Yeah, and I think it was Nakamba that got dropped. So I don't know if that's a sign that's going to continue, but hopefully not, because he's been nailed on until now. So I don't know why that happened.
I wonder if because it was like an easier game, they wanted a more attacking lineup to try and get the win.
Yeah, possibly.
He might come in against United and Chelsea, but yeah, that worried me too because I'd only got Nakamba in a couple of weeks ago as like a benchable cheap player. But I suppose if he doesn't come back in, Kieran, I've got Mason Greenwood on my third bench, who obviously scored the goal. Well, there was some fantastic tweet by Duncan Alexander of Opta who said Green was the first player younger than iTunes to score a Premier League goal, which I really liked. That was great. Right. Does that wrap up our fixture preview? Yeah. Cool. Should we talk a little bit? Should we just do the fun, easy stuff first and then have a little bit of a chat and then do the questions? Let's do your Cougar Cub picks because I've not thought about mine too much, so you can just waffle on about yours for a minute.
Right. Zaha's my backup, but I'm going to go for Mora at 3.9%. Bournemouth at home.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, I quite like that one. I'm going to go for a bit of an outlandish one. We've actually just talked about the team without talking about him. I'm going to go for Daniel James. I think he's still owned by less than 15%. I just feel as away form and fancy that James in that one.
Like it.
Yeah,
like
all right. Cool. Okay. So next I think we have to do... Should we just do the clean sheets as well? And then we'll get into the questions and the transfers at the end.
I've got Leicester assuming Evans can be fit, hopefully. Man City, I think a clear clean sheet chance. And then Liverpool, hopefully.
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right. Let's pick up some of these questions then because Kieran and I are wholly unprepared. I'm reading them off our Twitter mentions, but anyway, here we go. I'm sure what we've probably done, Kieran, is talk about a lot of these things anyway so far, so might be a little bit of repetition, but I feel it was important to get to everyone's questions. So let's see what we do. Thanks for everyone to send them in. We got quite a few this week, so that is cool. Right. This is great listening, Kieran, because I had to wait for the app to load.
God.
All right, so Brian, Blades Attack, he likes sending in questions because I think he's a Sheffield United fan. Is Charlie Taylor the best replacement for Ryan Fredericks over the next 5 weeks with a 5 million budget? I thought it was quite interesting because 5 million is such a weird sticking point. And I don't really think there's any 5 million players that are worth 5 million over the next 4 game weeks. So I'd drop the price and just think that Soyuncu and Tomori with those fixtures...
Well, yeah, if you don't have them.
Yeah, are probably the best options. I don't know if there's anyone else that's sort of standing out for you. I don't...
Cahill would be the other one. And then, that's about it, really. I don't know about Taylor. Like, is he nailed on? We're not sure. Assume he is, but if you don't have Pope, then sure. But I think there's better chances of clean sheets, possibly, if you don't have Sionku or tomorrow.
Yeah, agree. And I don't think, also for the next 5 weeks, Burnley's upcoming fixtures are that juicy either. We've had another question in from Oscar Horges, I think that's how you pronounce it, I hope so. He said, what's the best combination of strikers moving forward? Is it still Vardy, Abraham and Jimenez, or do you prefer two or three strikers at this point? I think that's quite a broad question, isn't it? I don't know how you see that, the sort of 3 strikes moment, because you have actually got it.
Painting with a brush, probably, VAJ is probably the best at the moment. You could go for the Brazilian twinge on it of Vaj.
What the hell are you talking about? What's going on here?
You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, you could get Jesus in there as well if you want. If you can go from Aguero. There's also you can get Ings. I think is also an option for that third striker. Possibly Rashford as well. So there's a few, but I think the template is definitely Vardy, Abraham and Jimenez for sure. Those are the best 3. And even Abraham, possibly of the next 3, if he's not doing well, I think even he's droppable actually.
Yeah. I mean, you've been on it for quite a few weeks now with 4-3-3, but I almost feel like that could be the next move for me. I mean, I've had 3 value defenders for quite a while now in Tomori, Lundstrom, and only this week Soyuncu. Before that, players like Rico and Alec Trent being my only sort of premium defender. And I still think that all of those teams, Sheffield United, Liverpool, Chelsea and Leicester, have all got great fixtures coming up. And do I take a chance by taking out a sort of a lesser mid, if you like, Mount, and then sort of using the money from a downgrade to Sterling to to enforce like a power free front line with Jimenez or someone else like King. So yeah, I do think there's been a bit of a shift, and it's mainly due to the fixtures.
Mm-hmm.
While we're on,
I think that's fair.
while we're on sort of the fixtures then and the form, let's move on and talk about the captaincy a little bit, because we had a question from FPL Ibra who said we want to talk about captaincy a little more because it's quite hard. I mean, we've mentioned Vardy quite a lot now. I mean, do you see Mane or even Salah as a fair alternative? Yeah,
I'll go through the four players I've got down here that I think are the best shouts. So in order, I've got Vardy first, Mane, and then Pulisic. I think probably third, and then Rashford as possible. Obviously, he's probably the last in order, and but he does have good stats. Anyway, Vardy is actually, as we said, over the last 4 weeks, 5.97, 11 big chances, 7 goals, 3 assists, 18 shots, 13 on target. And versus Everton in the last 4 weeks, they've had the least shots conceded, 30, but given up 7 big chances and kept 0 clean sheets. So obviously they're conceding not a lot of shots, but yeah, Leicester looks so good right now. First for XG, first for big chances, all the first team stats that matter, they're first. So, and Vardy seems obviously the main man for just getting goals. Marnie, his XG is 2.13. It's obviously a big difference compared to Vardy. 4 big chances over the last 4 weeks compared to Vardy's 11. So that's 3 goals, 2 assists compared to Vardy's 7 and 3 assists. So he's behind in everything. 12 shots, 5 on target behind Vardy again. Brighton at home last 4 weeks have conceded 57 shots, which is basically middle of the table for teams, and 6 big chances. So Brighton not as bad as Everton over the last few weeks. So again, I think that's in Vardy's favour. Pulisic, an XG of 2.7 over the last 4 weeks, 3 big chances, 5 goals, 0 assists, 14 shots, 10 on target. Last 4 weeks, obviously there's West Ham United he's got coming up, hasn't he? Yeah, this week. Obviously there's the Roberto factor, which he's obviously terrible. Pellegrini possibly about to get fired. Nailed on ? 51 shots conceded for West Ham last 4 weeks. 15 big chances coughed up, which is the highest of the last 4 weeks. So that's something, with 10 goals conceded as well. So
I mean, it does all point towards being quite a high-scoring game week when you consider there's so many sort of teams with highly owned assets. I mean, even United with Rashford and Martial having a home game against a poor away team in Villa. Obviously, we've got Leicester, Chelsea, Tottenham even, and Liverpool, of course. So I mean, there's a lot of assets or potential assets out there. And I mean, if you wanted to take a differential, I think Son's a good option as well. A Bournemouth team are really poor on the road.
Yeah. There's the. I think Vardy for us, he's going to get it, isn't he? And we think he is the best option.
Yeah. Shall we end on Son, because we've had quite a few questions. FPL Canuck. We also had Rizaz Rumi and I don't drink tea sent us a question. I think you want to revise that statement because tea is lovely. But they said basically Son is like key player at the moment and should they be getting rid of players to bring him in. KDB's been a name thrown around. Mount. I don't really see KDB to Son as a good move, because I still think KDB for his price, if you got him in early anyway, has just been so good this season, and he'll continue to offer really great value. He's key to that Man City team. But I do think Sterling's fallen way down the pecking order, and if you can afford to do Mount to Son, I think those are both viable ways of getting Son in this game week.
Would you take a hit for him?
It depends who it was. If it was a player if it Mount specifically, you mean?
Well, possibly.
Yeah, well, I suppose I'd probably take a hit for Son. Yeah, I really like this Bournemouth game, and I just think the bounce from obviously we've seen it before, new manager bounce. We talk about it like it's in the dictionary now, but it is a thing. Players do respond to having a new coach in charge, and
he'll probably get a brace tonight and blank at the weekend.
Kieran,
sorry, boys.
Don't say that. All right, well, let's talk about our transfers real quick, because then we can wrap it up. It's been a longish show.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about Aguero out, possibly to Jimenez. I think that's maybe too obvious, but maybe that's the good thing. Mount possibly up to Son, or possibly Nakamba up to Son, and then I think it was a Tierney downgrade to someone like Cahill. I think can just about afford it. So that would be with a hit, which I think is probably worth it. But that does give me a really horrible benching headache with all those 5 at the back who could play, and that would be really awkward. Or it's something like Tierney up to someone like Robertson, maybe, or it's Aguero down to like Connolly. I think he should be back, and take Nakamba just straight up to Salah. So,
blimey, you've got a lot going on in your head.
Yeah, I got 2 free transfers, 0.5 in the bank. There's so many options I can do.
There's a lot of options.
It's but with that Salah one, I'm ignoring possibly Son and Jimenez. So yeah, not sure.
Yeah, it's tricky. I'm probably going to keep it quite simple. I've only got 1 transfer this week. I'm probably just going to take out Sterling and bring in Son, and that's going to be it. Unless there's any sort of dramatic injury front, I don't really mind if Sterling's playing up front through the middle in this Champions League game. I think I'm going to,
well, I
hedge my bets.
Because I've got a Jesus captain in the Champions League.
Hedge my bets on Son. And I'm going to have to reassess how I spend that money the week after, whether it's Jimenez upgrade or whether it's Robertson. But yes, we'll think about that in due course, I think. Cool. Yep. All right, is there anything else we want to talk about?
No, I think we've gone on for long
pretty
enough.
Thorough, haven't we? Which Champions League game are you looking forward to tonight, just to catch up on that?
Goal show, to be honest. But I'm going to watch them all. So, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing Spurs play. See how they do.
They're playing at home, aren't they?
Yeah, against Olympiacos.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, interesting. All right, cool. I think that's everything. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for sending the questions. We'll have more of that next week with a dedicated question section. I think it's quite fun to do it that way. Good luck for the game week. If you've got any questions, pop them in the channel below, and we'll answer them. All right. Bye from me.
Cheers and good luck.
Bye.